Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing something that I find myself needing all the time, and that is how to show and hide a section in bricks. There are all different types of use cases where you'd want to show something or hide something, and we're going to look at 3 different ways to do that. You know, this is a great tutorial for beginners, and then we're going to get into some more challenging things for some of the more advanced users. And we're going to look at some attribute selectors and a way that you can superpower your CSS with dynamic data. So, how to show hide a section in bricks the easy way using display none. Using dynamic data, we're going to be using MetaBox, but this would work with ACF as well. And we're going to use dynamic data with conditions. This is a little more challenging, but not too hard. And then we're going to use the attribute selectors, which is probably the coolest thing that I learned to do with website builders. And this gives you the ability to dynamically change things using dynamic data. Like you might want to use an on and off switch, or you might want to have something on the back end where you can select to change the background color or just change the way that your CSS is working. And you can do that with attribute selector. So we'll look at these different ways and methods to do that today. So let's dive into the builder and take a look at what we're going to be dealing with here. I'm going to delete this section and just look at this page. So we have, this is a section from frames, and what we're going to do is show and hide this call to action section. So we might have this on our page, a call to action, and then another section, and sometimes maybe you're running a special, a deal or something, but we want to hide this section. So let's just dive into the easy way. You can go and create a class called display dash none, and this is just a blank empty class, and we can set this to display none. So let's go over to style. I'm going to use the search display none. So that's going to turn that section off. If I remove the class, it's going to bring it right back. So that's the easiest way to do that. I can go and put this display none class anywhere I want, and that will turn that section on and off. That's the easiest way to do it right there. But what if we want to be a little bit more dynamic with how we're going to do that? So, you know, that's a static way. You have to go into the builder, add your class, display none, to hide it, and then, you know, if you want to show it again, you got to come back into the builder, remove the class to have it back. So we're going to look at another way, and that's going to be using a condition and MetaBox. So I'm going to jump over to the back end where I already have a MetaBox custom field set up. If you need to know how to show, create new custom fields, you can go look at some of my other videos. I'm not going to create this from scratch, but I'll go through all the settings. So I built this new field group called show hide CTA, and this is just a select. And what I'm going to do is select for the post or the page to either show or hide. On the settings, I have it on post and page, so this field will be available to every single post and page. So let's go look at that page real quick. Let's see. If you scroll down to the bottom here, there's the custom field for show and hide. So right now it's set to show, which is great, but we can set it to hide, to show and hide that call to action in the builder using dynamic data. So we're just going to show these settings really quick. Show hide CTA field group. There's one field. It's called show hide CTA. It's a select field, and there are 2 choices, show or hide. And this is where we'll get into attribute selectors later, but you could customize all kinds of different ways that you want to show your CSS on the front end using attribute selectors. But right now we're going to go through step number 2, which is show hide based on conditions. Okay, so back in the builder here, we can go and use our second way. So the first way was display none. The second way is going to be adding a condition. And we're going to click the condition button, click add a new condition, and this is going to be dynamic data. So you can search for dynamic data. And we're going to go in and grab our show hide CTA equals show. Then it's going to show it. We'll test it on the front end and see what happens. All right, let's go to the page. So right now we've got it to show on the condition. So if I come and change this to hide, see if I did this right. All right, so now it's gone because the condition says to show. So let's just rebuild that one more time because this is kind of tricky. So what we're going to do is go to the conditions button and we're going to do dynamic data, and that's on the section that we want to show and hide. Dynamic data, and click the little lightning bolt here for dynamic data, and you can type in. What Bricks does is it puts each place that you want to show it, but you can pick either one because it's going to bring in the same field name, show hide CTA. So that's what I named it. And so what Bricks does is it goes and gets the post and the page and then adds that on to the ID, but it's really pulling the same thing. So you can put either one of those. This is a page. Let's just put a post for the posts, and I'm pretty sure it's going to work. Then we're going to say equals show. And it's important that you note your case sensitivity here. I have it set to show in all lowercase and hide in all lowercase, so you need to make sure you do that as well. Click save. And that's how you set up the dynamic data. So on the page, it's set to hide. So let's set it to show again and update. And when I refresh, it should pop back up. Hooray. So that's probably the easiest way to do dynamic data to show and hide a section. I mean, it doesn't get much easier than that, but I'm going to do another tutorial on attribute selectors, and so this will be a little preview of that. So we'll just update it one more time and hit hide. So a couple things to note. You can put the post or the page dynamic data here. It doesn't matter. It's going to go pull from the same field. It's going to use that ID here. And then case sensitivity. So if we change this to a capital SH, I bet it's not going to work properly. Maybe it will. I don't think so though. So we're saying to display this if it equals capital SHOW. So if I change that to lowercase SHOW, pretty sure it's not going to be there. Yeah. So let's go change that to lowercase. Hit save. Go back to your field. It's lowercase. Hit refresh. And it'll pop up. So it's case sensitive. So make sure you pay attention to that. Okay, we're going to go into the attribute selector now, which is really cool. Let's just do a quick Google search for attribute selector. And what this is saying is you can target something like a tag and then look at the attribute. So for example, the href attribute is set to this link. Or you can just do an attribute equals a value. See if I can find one here. Let's go to another example here. like this one right here, you could set, your attribute is title equals flower and do something like that. So this is really cool way to do things. So let's go look at how that works. So I'm going to delete my dynamic data and hit save and just go and look at this class. So what we're going to do to make this work is we're going to create a class, and in the custom CSS we're going to come down and give it a attribute name. So the attribute is going to be called CTA control, and we'll go over this like 3 times because it's kind of tricky. But the attribute is CTA control, and if it equals show, we're just going to do a display flex. Make sure your display is the right property. You might be block, inline block. This is a section and it's set to flex, pretty sure. So we're going to do display flex. And then if CTA control equals hide, we're going to display none. Okay, but John, where do you go put all of these attributes? So on the section, let's go to the attributes setting, and we're just going to add an attribute called CTA control. And then we're going to go grab that dynamic data. This is where I start getting excited, from MetaBox, that's going to be either show or hide. So let's go back to our CSS. Lowercase, case sensitive here. Lowercase, case sensitive here as well. So show or hide. It's basically the same thing, except that the section, when you do it this way, is still going to be in the DOM. When you use a condition, the section won't be in the DOM. So you have to think if you want this section to actually be in the DOM or not. And for something like this, it probably doesn't matter. If you had a lot of JavaScript running in here, or a video, or some giant images, you'd want to go with the conditions route. But if you just wanted to quickly show and hide this without using a condition, maybe you stumbled on this video and you're using some sort of builder that doesn't have conditions. Thankfully, Bricks does, which is why it's my builder of choice. You could use this. So you could use this in WordPress without using conditions, and it will put display none on the section. So it's still going to be in the DOM, which we're just going to do that real quick. Display none, hit save, hit refresh. It's going to disappear there, but let's go inspect the DOM and it's going to be there. So we had our 3 sections, 1, 2, and 3, and this section is display none. So if I toggle it on and off, it's still in the DOM, meaning it's output on the page. Search engines can see it. If someone inspects your page, you can see it. So that's the difference between the first method and the third methods, just display none adding to the section. But still, this is a really intelligent way to do this here. Let's go back to our show hide CTA and go look at the attribute. Setting up that CTA control attribute name, and then dynamically going and getting that MetaBox. If you set it up to something static, you couldn't change it on the back end. So that's why we want to go grab that data from MetaBox. So again, step 1, create your class called show hide CTA. And in this class, we're going to just map to our attribute. And this is getting into more logic on your website. Logically, I want to use this data attribute called CTA control equals show. So it's kind of like a condition, but it's just going to change the CSS, display flex. You could change this and say something like background color red. So instead of showing and hiding it, we're going to do background color red and green, or red and blue. Something like that. let's see if that works. And I think playing around with this type of stuff will show you how it works. So instead of showing and hiding, now we're changing the background color of this section. So if we have it set to show, it's going to be red. If we have it set to hide, it's going to be blue, which doesn't make a ton of sense, but for demonstration purposes, that's how it works. Should be blue. Hooray. I love it when stuff works. Okay, so let's go edit our CSS back to display none. Get that out of there and get that out of there to kind of show this show hide. So right now, what are we on? Close that one. We're on hide. Let's set it to show. Update. Hit refresh. And it's still in the DOM here. And if we go set it to hide, it's going to hide it, and it's going to still be in the DOM just set to display none. So that is 3 easy ways that you can show and hide a section in Bricks. We'll go through them one more time just so everybody can see. Method number 1 is going to be to set the class to display none. So we created a class called display-none, and we set the, I think it's under layout. Where's it at? Display. Yeah, so we set the display to none. Where is display? It's under content? Yeah, okay. On a section, it's under content. You can always search for it. So that's method number 1. We created a class, set it to display none, and it's gonna display nothing. You know, that's not dynamic. We gotta go back into the builder and do that. So our second method was to use a condition. So I'm gonna delete this class and let's go do a condition. I'm gonna save real quick, refresh the builder, or refresh the page just to make sure we're good. And let's go and add that condition in. So click the section, conditions, add a new condition. We're gonna do dynamic data. Select dynamic data, which was show hide the CTA, and it doesn't really matter which one you pick here. And we're gonna say show, case sensitive. Hit save. And right now we're set to hide. So refresh. It should be hidden. And let's check the DOM real quick so I can show you that it's gone from the output. So we've got section 1, section 2 in between my main tags here, and it's gone. If we hop back over here and set it to show and update, show, hit refresh, it should be back. There it is, and now it's back in the DOM using the conditions method. The third way we did it, so let's delete the condition and go back to our show hide CTA class, was to create a brand new class called show hide CTA, and then in the custom CSS we target the attribute, which is super cool. You could add attributes all day long. Sometimes I build dynamic components that are accessible, like accessible tabs, and they really use a lot of attributes. So you can use attributes too. This is like, you could add whatever you want here. And then we need to go add the attribute. So I named it CTA control, and we're gonna map to that same dynamic data, show hide CTA custom field there. And that is all you're doing to control it. The difference though here is you're still outputting into the DOM. So those are the 3 methods to show and hide a section in Bricks. Let's do this one more time. And set it to hide, update, see you later, but it's still in the DOM. Yeah, right there. Still in the DOM. When you use the attribute selector, and you can tell it to come back just by clicking that. Where did it go? Right there. So you can see that this is how we're targeting that. This is our selector. Attribute equals hide. Do display none. And you can do whatever you want. Font size, extra, extra large. And then it'll make all your fonts super big. I don't know. You can do whatever you want. It's just CSS. It's just a dynamic way to control the CSS. So that's normal. You know, use your attribute selectors however you want. I think that's so cool. Anyways, I'm trying to make these tutorials a little more bite-sized and easy to follow along. But that's 3 ways that you can show and hide a section. If you have any questions, drop it down in the comments. And one of the next tutorials up is really diving into attribute selectors to change how we want things to look. So a sneak preview of that. Let's say you have a shop and you're running Christmas specials or holiday specials, or you have a St. Patrick's Day here in the United States where we celebrate St. Patrick's Day by drinking green beer. The color's green. Maybe you want to do a green color, or maybe the World Cup's coming and you want to change something to black and white like soccer balls. I don't know. Whatever you want. You can use attribute selectors to change branding colors, whatever you want. So we'll dive into attribute selectors and see how that looks. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more dynamic data and how to build scalable, maintainable websites with Bricks Builder. All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.